Hello, Nari Mac here with you at Future of Mining 2025. And it's great to be speaking with David Parker, Executive Director with the Minerals Council of Australia. And David, you've just been speaking on a panel about net zero. Is it achievable by 2030?
Well, look, we took the view that there's an agreement from our industry for 2050 from a Minerals Council point of view. 2030 is quite ambitious. I mean, all hands to the pump to try to do what we can to reduce emissions across our operations and across our industry carbon inventory. The challenge is it is not clear cut. I mean, there's going to be technological solutions. There's going to be requiring innovation. We've really got to push the envelope in a lot of those frontiers to get to net zero, but to try to do it too quickly runs the risk of unintended consequences, particularly economic consequences in terms of carbon leakage, where operations are closed in Australia and they reappear in another jurisdiction which is non-compliant with greenhouse conventions. So I think we just keep a very pragmatic approach to this. We keep an approach which allows the industry to do what it can within its capabilities, and a bit of support from government in terms of making sure we've got regulatory structures in place which encourage innovation and encourage industry activity to decarbonise in a pragmatic way.
Well, speaking of industry activity, David, I know the Minerals Council put out a report last week saying that the sector contributed almost $60 billion in terms of tax and royalty payments. So what's important to maintain this economic powerhouse?
Well, I think it's very timely because we're coming up to the Treasurer's Productivity Roundtable and everything's on the table in terms of what Australia needs to do to maintain its comparative advantage in a very challenged world. You know, we've got quite a few moving parts right across the Western democracies at the moment, and of course conflict in Europe and what have you for the first time for nearly 70 years. So it's a changing landscape, and I think you've got this very, very powerful industry and very reliable industry which is delivering both export income and national growth to the national economy. So we're just going to make sure we maintain that productive industry and we provide those policy frameworks which encourage more and sort of take the burden of government off the back of industry as much as possible and let industry keep doing what it's been doing for many decades. And that's got significant implications right across the nation in terms of jobs, in terms of taxes and charges, and in terms of really funding the lifestyle Australians have enjoyed for many decades in terms of health, childcare, aged care, and importantly now defence dividend as well.
Finally, David, what's your interest in attending Future of Mining this year?
Well, I think it's been very important. We've had both state and federal elections, so a lot of discussion, a lot of narrative around what resource can and might not do or might do and what have you. So the timing's been pretty good just in terms of now the dust has settled, so to speak, on those two elections in pretty short span between the two of them. We can now have a fundamental discussion in terms of what good looks like of the Australian resources sector, what are the outcomes we're looking for in terms of those two return governments, and what is Australia's place in this global competitive resources sector. You know, what are our opportunities and how can we sort of harness the resources sector to the great benefit of Australia?
David, thank you very much for your time.
Thanks, mate.